The Grand Council of the Galactic Empire gathered in a massive, dimly lit chamber. The walls were lined with holographic projections of various star systems, and the air was thick with the low hum of advanced technology. Around the room sat alien generals and high-ranking officials, each more powerful and technologically advanced than anything humanity had ever encountered. The humans had no chance, or so they thought. General Vrox, the leader of the invading force, stood in the center of the room. His 6 arms crossed over his armored chest, and his eyes glowed with an icy contempt as he spoke. "Earth is nothing," he said, his voice cold and dismissive. "Their military is primitive, their weapons outdated. We can crush them with ease. But it seems we have one question to answer first." His eyes flicked to a holographic projection of Earth, showing the human forces gathering for what seemed to be an impending conflict. What is this obsession they have with these animals? On the projection, a human soldier stood proudly next to a large, muscular dog. The dog wore a special suit, but to Vrox and his council, the image was laughable. Dogs? In a galaxy where sentient robots and AI-powered warships dominated, the idea that a species would rely on a primitive creature like a dog seemed absurd. The entire council erupted into laughter, their high-pitched voices echoing off the walls. Vrox sneered, "The humans have no technology to match our own. They rely on animals that have no place in warfare." A laughable effort. His voice boomed with arrogance. "Their armies are nothing compared to the might of our war machines. We have AI that can think and act in seconds, warships that can travel across the galaxy in an instant, and robots that are stronger and smarter than any creature they can offer. They don't stand a chance." The generals nodded in agreement. One of them, a 4-eyed alien with metallic skin, leaned forward and added, "These dogs, if anything, will be an easy target. Our weapons are far more advanced. They can't compete with our technology. This will be a swift conquest." As the Alien Council continued its mockery of Earth's military capabilities, the scene shifted. The cameras zoomed out, taking us to Earth, where preparations for the battle were underway. The military was in full gear, ready to face the galactic threat. But there was something different about this preparation. Human soldiers were seen alongside their dogs, who wore strange, almost futuristic suits. The dogs weren't just pets. They were enhanced, cybernetically upgraded for war. Their muscles were stronger, their senses sharper, and their reflexes faster, all thanks to the latest human technologies. The dogs were fitted with advanced neural implants, connecting them directly to their human handlers. They wore battle armor designed to protect them from enemy fire, and their eyes glowed with a strange, unnatural intensity. The humans had found a way to transform their loyal companions into deadly warriors, but the full extent of this was still hidden from the alien invaders. Back in the Alien Council room, the generals were still laughing. They couldn't see the potential danger, too blinded by their own technological arrogance. To them, the dogs were nothing more than an amusing curiosity. Vrox, in particular, was unconcerned. "They have no understanding of real power," he muttered. "When we land, their armies will scatter before us. Their dogs, no matter how enhanced, will be powerless against our might." The invasion was imminent, and the aliens were certain they would win. The stage was set, but they were about to face a very different kind of force, one they couldn't have predicted. On Earth, the dogs were more than just animals. They were symbols of human resilience. In a world where technology could sometimes seem cold and impersonal, these dogs embodied the warmth, loyalty, and spirit of humanity. They weren't just soldiers. They were companions, ready to fight for their families and their homes. And they had no intention of being underestimated. The moment the first wave of alien warships broke through Earth's atmosphere, the skies darkened with the sheer magnitude of the invasion force. The massive, sleek ships appeared as shadows against the blue sky, their cloaking technology rendering them completely invisible to human radar. The alien generals had been right about one thing. They had the element of surprise. For a few moments, humanity was caught off guard, unable to detect the threat until it was almost too late. But the humans weren't as unprepared as the aliens thought. Through years of research, understanding, and even intercepted transmissions, Earth's military had learned much about the technologies of their alien adversaries. They knew what was coming, and they had a plan. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough. As the alien ships descended with terrifying speed, Earth's air defenses activated, launching missiles into the sky. Explosions lit up the atmosphere as they met the alien ship's shields. The missiles detonated harmlessly against the invisible barriers, leaving nothing more than burning trails behind them. The first wave of alien ships dropped lower, their sleek forms gliding effortlessly through Earth's atmosphere, untouched by any human weaponry. The alien fleet was vast, its scale unimaginable. The humans could only watch as the ships descended upon the cities, ready to begin their invasion. On the ground, human soldiers scrambled to take positions, their weapons aimed at the sky in a futile attempt to fight back. Tanks rolled through the streets, their heavy armor protecting them from the initial strikes, but it was clear they were no match for the highly advanced alien technology. Lasers and energy blasts from the alien ships ripped through the streets, decimating everything in their path. Buildings collapsed under the weight of the bombardment, and the human forces were quickly being overwhelmed. As the alien ships unleashed their deadly firepower, General Vrox watched from his command ship, his expression one of satisfaction. The humans were retreating. Their weapons were weak, their defense systems outdated. They had no chance against the superior technology of his forces. In his mind, it was already over. Earth was an easy target. The invaders were unstoppable, and he reveled in the chaos unfolding below. But then, something unexpected happened. A strange disturbance rippled through the battlefield. The air seemed to shimmer, and an odd, almost animalistic sound echoed through the chaos. The soldiers froze for a moment, unsure of what they were hearing. And then, out of nowhere, they appeared. The dogs. They were unlike anything the aliens had ever encountered. They moved with incredible speed, their cloaking devices making them nearly invisible to the naked eye. The dogs darted through the battlefield, their advanced cybernetic suits allowing them to leap over obstacles, dodge incoming fire, and close the distance between themselves and the alien troops faster than anyone could react. At first, the aliens didn't know what to make of it. These weren't normal dogs. They were weaponized animals, outfitted with cloaking devices and advanced combat tech. The dogs were equipped with AI-driven neural interfaces that allowed them to think and act faster than their human counterparts, making them nearly as deadly as the advanced robots the aliens relied on. The alien forces were caught completely off guard. Their sentries, programmed to detect and eliminate any threat, were now struggling to track the elusive, cloaked dogs. The canines moved in packs, their enhanced senses allowing them to find and disable alien sentries with terrifying precision. The dogs targeted weak spots in the alien armor, ripping through the vulnerable points with ease, disabling shields, and tearing apart mechanical enemies. The chaos spread quickly as more and more dogs emerged from hiding, attacking in coordinated strikes. The alien soldiers began firing at the shadows, desperately trying to locate their attackers, but they were too fast, too elusive. The dogs seemed to vanish into thin air, only to reappear seconds later, taking down more and more of the alien forces. Vrox watched in disbelief from his command ship, his mind racing to comprehend what he was seeing. The humans had been hiding this. These cybernetic dogs were a threat, one that hadn't even crossed his mind when he dismissed humanity as primitive and unprepared. His generals, who had been so sure of victory, were now silent. They too had been caught off guard, unsure of how to handle this new, unexpected danger. The dogs weren't just causing chaos, they were turning the tide. The alien soldiers were no longer confident in their superiority. They were distracted, confused, and increasingly fearful. For the first time, The aliens questioned the true strength of the humans. The dogs, simple creatures once dismissed as nothing more than pets, had become the invaders' worst nightmare. As Vrox barked orders to his troops, trying to regain control, the humans saw an opportunity. Earth's soldiers, now reinvigorated by the sudden shift in the battle, began to fight back with renewed strength. The alien forces, once so sure of their victory, were now scrambling to adapt to the unexpected threat posed by the cyberdogs. The battlefield was no longer in their favor. The aliens were confused, panicked, and beginning to lose their grip on the situation. The first wave of the invasion was faltering. The dogs, once thought of as a joke, had proven to be humanity's greatest asset. Vrox's smug smile slowly faded as he watched his forces struggle against these unexpected opponents. The dogs weren't just a weapon. They were a symbol of humanity's resourcefulness and determination to fight back, no matter how impossible the odds seemed. The aliens' technological superiority had been their greatest advantage, but it had now become their greatest weakness. They hadn't anticipated the ingenuity of the humans, nor had they ever considered the power of loyalty and companionship between man and beast. What they saw as a weakness, Earth's bond with their dogs, had become the key to humanity's survival. The tension in the air was palpable as the first real counteroffensive began. The dogs, still cloaked, continued to wreak havoc behind enemy lines, taking out enemy sentries, sabotaging warships, and causing confusion among the alien ranks. The humans, working alongside their cyber-enhanced companions, pushed forward, determined to reclaim their planet from the invaders. For the aliens, the battle was no longer as one-sided as they had once believed, and the question now was, would they adapt in time to stop the humans and their cyberdogs, or had they underestimated the power of Earth's will to survive? As the battle between humanity and the alien invaders raged on, one soldier stood out in the chaos. Bonner, a seasoned human soldier, was no stranger to the horrors of war. With his dark, weathered face and eyes that had seen more than anyone should, he was a quiet force on the battlefield. But he wasn't alone. At his side, running with unmatched speed, was his trusted partner, Max. Max wasn't just any dog. He was a cybernetic-enhanced fighter, a highly advanced machine with a heart of loyalty and a will of steel. Together, they were a team, and they were about to turn the tide of the battle in ways no one could have expected. Bonner had been through hell and back. The scars on his body were reminders of the sacrifices he had made. He had lost friends, family, and even parts of himself along the way. But he had never lost his will to fight. Every battle was another chance to prove that humanity was more than just a primitive species. They were survivors. And Max, his loyal companion, had been with him through it all. "Stay close, boy," Bonner muttered, glancing down at the cyberdog at his side. Max's glowing eyes locked onto Bonner's, the bond between them clear. The dog didn't need words to understand. He was more than a companion. He was a fighter, a partner in every sense of the word. Max's sleek, cybernetic body shimmered with cloaking technology, and his enhanced legs allowed him to sprint at speeds that outpaced most human soldiers. The alien forces, still reeling from the shock of the cyberdog's earlier attacks, had regrouped, but they hadn't anticipated the humans fighting back with everything they had, especially not with the help of these highly advanced cybernetic dogs. As the battle intensified, Bonner and Max led the charge against an alien battalion stationed on the edge of the city. The soldiers and their dogs moved with deadly precision, a blur of motion through the smoke and debris of war. As Bonner sprinted forward, he couldn't help but think back to the beginning of this conflict. He remembered the mocking alien generals, how they laughed at humanity's reliance on dogs, believing them to be nothing more than pets, weak and incapable of fighting on the same level as their advanced alien forces. They were wrong. Max and the other cyberdogs were the proof. Bonner's heart swelled with pride as he recalled the countless moments where Max had saved him from certain death, Whether it was by taking down an enemy drone or protecting Bonner from a fatal blast, Max was always there, always ready to fight by his side. But the dogs weren't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for humanity's future. And now, it was their time to shine. As Bonner and his squad charged forward, they used the cover of the cyberdogs to infiltrate the alien lines. The dogs, acting as scouts, ran ahead, their cloaked forms moving silently through the chaos. They darted between alien warships and soldiers, providing crucial intel to the human forces. Through their cybernetic enhancements, the dogs were able to gather information and relay it back to Bonner's team in real time. Left flank is clear. Bonner's radio crackled, the voice of one of his fellow soldiers. "We're moving up." Bonner nodded, signaling Max to follow him as they pressed forward. The human forces were advancing, using the data provided by the cyberdogs to outmaneuver the alien battalion. The aliens, still stunned by the dogs' abilities, were struggling to adapt to the new tactics. They were used to overwhelming their enemies with superior firepower, but the humans were fighting smarter, not harder. The dogs' next move was even more daring. Max, along with a few other cyberdogs, dashed towards the alien mothership that hovered ominously above the city. Their target, the AI system that controlled the mothership's movements. The aliens had relied heavily on their advanced AI, but they had never considered that it could be hacked or disabled. That's where the dogs came in. As Bonner led the charge toward the alien battalion, he couldn't help but watch as Max and the other dogs infiltrated the mothership. The dogs leaped onto the massive hull of the ship, their enhanced limbs allowing them to scale the surface with ease. Using their cybernetic implants, the dogs connected to the mothership's systems, bypassing its security measures and disabling its AI. The alien soldiers, still engaged in firefights with human forces below, had no idea what was happening. They were caught off guard as the mothership's weapons suddenly malfunctioned, its AI-controlled systems going offline. The once dominant alien warship was now vulnerable, its power grid flickering and failing. The humans seized the opportunity, launching a full assault on the mothership's weak points. The battle turned chaotic, with Bonner and his squad taking advantage of the disruption. The alien soldiers, now scrambling to fix the malfunction, were no match for the coordinated attack from the humans and their cyberdogs. Max, still cloaked and moving with incredible speed, darted between enemy lines, taking down alien sentries one by one. His movements were quick and precise, the result of years of advanced training and cybernetic enhancements. In the heart of the battle, Bonner found himself face to face with an alien general. The alien's large, armored form towered over him, but Bonner stood firm, his weapon aimed directly at the alien's chest. The alien sneered, underestimating Bonner's resolve. But before the general could react, Max lunged at him, his sharp claws sinking into the alien's armor. With a swift, precise strike, Max disabled the general's weapon system, rendering him powerless. The humans, now fully in control of the battlefield, continued their assault. The cyberdogs, once seen as nothing more than tools, had become the heroes of the day. They had taken down a mothership, disabled enemy soldiers, and turned the tide of the war in humanity's favor. As the last of the alien forces retreated, Bonner and Max stood amidst the wreckage of the battle. Bonner's face was grim, but there was a glimmer of satisfaction in his eyes. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had fought back, and they had done it with the help of their most unlikely allies, their dogs. Max trotted over to Bonner, his cybernetic body gleaming in the fading light of the battlefield. The bond between them was stronger than ever. They had faced the impossible, and together they had triumphed. It was a victory for humanity, and it was a victory for the power of loyalty, bravery, and the bond between man and beast. The battle was far from over. With the humans gaining ground, General Vrox knew the time had come to escalate the conflict. He had underestimated Earth and its defenses, especially the cyberdogs that had become an unexpected dangerous force. But Vrox, confident in the alien superiority of his forces, dismissed them as mere pests. "The dogs are a nuisance," he muttered to his officers, "nothing more. But we will eradicate this nuisance and wipe out the human resistance once and for all." Vrox's next move was swift and decisive. He ordered a full-scale assault on Earth's main military base, where the humans had made their last stand. The base, located in a remote part of the world, was heavily fortified with advanced technology and the most skilled soldiers. The aliens believed that with one massive strike, they could crush the last of humanity's defenses. Bonner was stationed at the base, leading his team alongside Max, his loyal cyberdog. As the alien forces closed in, the air crackled with tension. Bonner could feel the weight of the responsibility on his shoulders. This was no longer just a fight for survival. It was a fight for humanity's future. He knew that losing this base would mean losing the war. But Bonner also understood that the dogs, Max and the others, were their secret weapon. They were the key to surviving the coming assault. Suddenly, the ground trembled as alien warships descended from the sky. The atmosphere crackled with the sound of energy blasts, and the once peaceful landscape became a war zone. Bonner's heart raced, but he kept his focus. Max, always by his side, seemed to sense the danger too. The dog's enhanced ears perked up, and his sleek, cybernetic body stood ready for action. The first wave of alien troops landed with an earth-shattering thud. The aliens, led by AI-controlled war machines and soldiers, moved swiftly and with deadly precision. The human forces, though brave and determined, found themselves outmatched by the alien technology. As Bonner surveyed the battlefield, a sinking feeling gripped his chest. The sheer power of the alien forces was overwhelming. His heart dropped when he saw one of his closest comrades, Surgeon Adams, fall under a blast from an alien drone. Bonner froze for a moment. His friend, his family in arms, was gone. The weight of loss hit Bonner like a sledgehammer. He felt as if the battle had suddenly become a personal one, and the stakes had never been higher. He tried to shake off the grief, but it was hard. Adams had been with him through every mission, every fight. The loss left a hole in Bonner's heart, one he wasn't sure how to fill. But he knew he couldn't stop. He couldn't afford to. Humanity's fate was in his hands, and if he let the grief take over, it would mean failure. Max sensed Bonner's pain. Without hesitation, the cyberdog nudged his handler's leg, as if telling him, "Focus." Bonner looked down at his loyal companion, the bond between them unspoken but strong. Max had always been his anchor, his reminder that they were in this together, no matter how dire the situation became. "Let's finish this, boy," Bonner muttered, his voice thick with emotion. The battle around them raged on. The alien forces pushed forward, relentlessly attacking the human lines. Meanwhile, high above, alien warships prepared for an orbital bombardment, an attack that would obliterate Earth's remaining defenses. The alien AI had calculated the perfect strike, one that would cripple humanity's ability to fight back. Bonner knew they had to stop it. He looked up, his eyes narrowing. The bombardment would hit in mere minutes, and if it wasn't stopped, Earth's last hope would be wiped out. In a last-ditch effort, the humans deployed their cyberdogs once again. This time, the dogs would have to go into space. They were equipped with cloaking devices that allowed them to move undetected through the alien defenses. Their mission was clear: infiltrate the alien warships and disable the targeting systems for the orbital bombardment. Max, along with a few other cyberdogs, leaped into action. They sprinted toward the nearest alien vessel, their cloaking devices activating, making them invisible to the aliens. The dogs moved with incredible precision, weaving through the alien ships and evading laser fire. As they neared the main warship's control tower, Max and the others used their advanced implants to access the alien ship's systems. The dogs worked quickly, bypassing the alien security protocols with ease. Their cybernetic minds were perfectly suited for hacking into the alien tech. As Max reached the control room, he connected to the targeting system and began disabling it piece by piece. The aliens had no idea what was happening. Their eye-controlled drones continued to prepare for the bombardment, unaware that their plans were falling apart. Max and the other dogs worked in silence, their cloaked forms darting around the control room as they disabled the targeting systems. Piece by piece, the dogs were making history. They were the last line of defense against the annihilation of Earth. Bonner watched from the ground, his heart pounding. He knew that if the dogs didn't succeed, humanity would be finished. The alien warships were too powerful, and their weapons were too advanced. But he had faith in the dogs. They had already defied the aliens once. Now they were doing it again. The moment the last targeting system was shut down, Max sent a signal to Bonner, letting him know the job was done. Bonner smiled, feeling a surge of relief. The orbital bombardment had been stopped, but the war was far from over. The aliens were still relentless, and Bonner knew that they would soon regroup and launch another assault. He glanced around at his fellow soldiers, who were still fighting with everything they had. The cyberdogs had given them the edge they needed, but it wouldn't be enough without human bravery and sacrifice. The visual chaos of the battle was overwhelming. High-speed chases between the cyberdogs and alien robots filled the sky, while on the ground, soldiers fought for their lives. The air was thick with smoke and the hum of energy blasts. Max, Bonner's faithful companion, darted through the debris, taking down alien forces with speed and precision. Bonner's heart was heavy, but he knew one thing. They weren't going to give up. Not now, not ever. As the last of the alien warships retreated into the atmosphere, the humans stood victorious. For now, the battle had been won. But the war was far from over. The humans had proven that they could fight back against overwhelming odds, and with the help of their cyberdogs, they had turned the tide. But they knew that the alien forces would return, and when they did, humanity would be ready. Bonner looked down at Max, who was now sitting beside him, panting and covered in dust. The bond between them was unbreakable. Together, they had saved Earth. Together, they would fight on. The moment General Vrox saw his forces faltering, he knew something was wrong. His once confident belief in the superiority of the alien race was crumbling before his eyes. The humans, whom he had underestimated so arrogantly, were turning the tide of battle with the help of their seemingly insignificant, cyber-enhanced dogs. The final assault on Earth had seemed like an easy victory. But now, the alien forces were retreating. He couldn't understand it. How could this happen? Vrox stood on the bridge of his mothership, watching the battle unfold on the monitor. He had believed that the human military, with all its primitive technology, would fall easily before his advanced eye-controlled warships and robotic soldiers. But now, the reality of the situation hit him like a hammer. The humans had done the unthinkable. They were pushing back. Vrox's heart raced. The dogs had proven to be more than just a nuisance. They had become a serious threat. As his forces retreated, it became clear that the cyberdogs had disabled key systems within his fleet, neutralizing the alien advantage. But it was the humans, led by Bonner and his loyal dog, Max, who were now launching the most devastating strike. Bonner and Max had infiltrated the alien mothership, and they were fighting their way through its halls, hand-to-hand combat breaking out at every turn. Alien soldiers, once confident in their superiority, now found themselves outmatched by the relentless power of the human soldier and dog team. Bonner and Max moved with precision, taking down alien after alien with swift, efficient strikes. The mothership's halls trembled as explosions rocked the ship from within. The humans had planted charges on the ship's power cores, setting the stage for the final blow. Every step Bonner and Max took brought them closer to their goal, to bring down the mothership and its command center. With each fight, Bonner could feel the weight of the moment. The survival of humanity, the lives of his comrades, and the safety of Earth were all riding on this one mission. He glanced at Max, who stood loyally beside him, his cybernetic body enhanced for battle but still retaining the warmth of a companion. Their bond was unspoken but incredibly strong. Max was not just a weapon. He was a partner in every sense of the word. As Bonner and Max moved deeper into the mothership, the alien soldiers began to realize the gravity of the situation. They fought fiercely, but they were no match for the cyberdogs. Max, with his advanced combat training and cybernetic enhancements, moved faster than the aliens could track. He darted through their ranks, avoiding laser fire and striking with deadly precision. Bonner wasn't far behind, his weapon flashing as he took down alien after alien. The mothership's AI system, once a formidable opponent, was now struggling to keep up with the chaos. Bonner and Max were systematically disabling its key systems, cutting off the aliens' ability to regroup and counterattack. Vrox watched from his command center as his ship, his empire, fell apart piece by piece. His hands clenched into fists. He couldn't believe it. How had things gotten this far? He had thought the humans were nothing more than an insignificant species, barely able to defend their own planet. Yet here they were, infiltrating his flagship and turning his advanced technology against him. His arrogance had blinded him to their strength. As Bonner and Max reached the central core of the mothership, the tension in the air was palpable. The alien forces were no longer coordinated. The once pristine command center was in disarray, with sparks flying from broken systems and the lights flickering. The hum of the ship's engines had become an ominous sound, one that signaled the inevitable destruction of everything Vrox had worked for. Vrox, now panicked, scrambled to order an escape. He couldn't afford to be defeated here. If he died, it would mean the end of the alien conquest of Earth. But as he prepared to flee, he felt a sudden, powerful grip on his arm. Bonner, with Max by his side, had reached him. "You're not going anywhere," Bonner said, his voice calm but filled with determination. The human soldier and his dog stood between Vrox and the escape pod, blocking the way. Vrox tried to break free, but Bonner's grip was unyielding. He struggled, but the pain in his arm and the fear that gripped him only made his movements more desperate. "You don't understand," Vrox shouted. "The galaxy is mine. I will not be defeated by you." Bonner didn't flinch. "This isn't about the galaxy," he said quietly. "This is about Earth. This is about humanity's will to survive. And we'll do whatever it takes to make sure you never come back." Max, standing at Bonner's side, growled low in his throat, his cyber-enhanced eyes glowing brightly. Vrox had seen the strength of the dogs in battle, but now he was seeing something else, a deep, unwavering loyalty. Bonner wasn't just fighting for Earth. He was fighting for something more. For the people he loved, for the soldiers who had fought alongside him, and for the bond he shared with Max. Vrox's eyes widened as the final moments of his mothership drew near. The power cores were nearing critical mass. The ship trembled more violently, and the lights flickered ominously. He knew he had moments, maybe seconds, to escape, but Bonner and Max weren't letting him go. The strength of humanity had been revealed to him in full force. "Your empire ends here," Bonner said, his voice resolute. As Vrox tried to make one last attempt to flee, Max lunged forward, gripping the alien general by the arm and holding him in place. The final explosion was imminent. The ship was shaking, and alarms blared as the countdown to destruction began. In the last moments of the battle, Vrox realized his fate was sealed. The ship would be destroyed, and so would he. He had lost. Humanity, the species he had once mocked, had defeated him. Bonner didn't speak again. He and Max stepped aside as the countdown hit 0. The mothership's power cores detonated in a blinding flash, and the ship exploded, disintegrating in space. Vrox, the alien invader who had once believed in his race's superiority, was no more. As the dust settled and the remnants of the alien fleet retreated, Bonner stood on the battlefield, looking out at the stars. He was exhausted, but he felt a profound sense of relief. They had done it. They had stopped the alien invasion and protected their home. Max, his loyal companion, stood by his side, ready for whatever would come next. Together, they had proven that humanity would never be underestimated again. The smoke of battle had cleared, and Earth's skies were no longer filled with the threatening ships of the alien invaders. The victory was complete. Humanity had won. The alien forces had been pushed back, and the mothership, the heart of their invasion, had been obliterated. The joy of Earth's inhabitants was palpable as they celebrated their hard-fought victory. The streets were filled with cheering crowds, soldiers saluting one another, and families reunited after the long and dangerous days of war. But in the midst of all the celebration, Bonner stood alone, looking out at the horizon, his heart heavy with the weight of loss. The battle had been brutal, and the cost of victory was high. While the aliens were defeated, many of Bonner's fellow soldiers had not made it out alive. Among them was Max, his loyal companion, who had fought by his side throughout the war. Max had been critically injured during the final assault on the mothership. Despite Bonner's best efforts to save him, the damage was too severe. The cybernetic enhancements that had made Max such a powerful ally could not save him this time. As Bonner sat by the makeshift memorial for Max and his fallen comrades, the weight of their sacrifice sank in. They had given everything to protect Earth, and now the world would rebuild because of their bravery. Yet, it was hard to feel the full joy of victory when those who had fought beside him were gone. Bonner's mind drifted back to the days when he had first met Max. The dog had been more than just a tool in battle. He had been a friend, a confidant, and a symbol of the strength of humanity. The bond they shared went beyond the battlefield. Max had been with him through thick and thin, always at his side, always ready to fight. He had saved Bonner's life more times than he could count, and now it was Bonner's turn to mourn the loss of his companion. He ran a hand over Max's dog tag, a symbol of their shared history, and whispered a quiet thanks for everything the dog had done. Bonner's grief was not just for Max, but for all the lives lost during the war. The humans who had fought to protect their homes, their families, and their planet. They had faced an impossible enemy, one that had vastly superior technology, and yet they had never given up. This was the true strength of humanity, their ability to fight, to persevere, and to love. As the days passed, Earth began to rebuild. The scars of the invasion were still fresh, but hope filled the air. People worked together, rebuilding cities, restoring infrastructure, and healing the wounds left by the war. Humans and their loyal cyberdogs, once tools of war, now worked side by side in the new era of peace. The bond between humans and their canine companions had never been stronger. These dogs were no longer just soldiers. They had become integral parts of society, helping in every aspect of life. From search and rescue missions to assisting the disabled, the dogs were now symbols of humanity's resilience and love for their companions. As Bonner walked through the streets, he saw the future unfolding before him. Children played in the parks, their laughter echoing in the air, while soldiers and civilians worked together to rebuild the world. It was a sight that filled him with both pride and sorrow. Humanity had won, but the cost was great. Still, he couldn't help but feel a sense of optimism. Max's sacrifice had not been in vain. The world would be better because of it. The humans had not only defeated the alien forces, but had also proven something far greater. They had shown that love, loyalty, and sacrifice were stronger than the cold, emotionless power of AI-driven machines. The alien empire, which had once viewed humanity as weak and insignificant, now saw them as a force to be reckoned with. Across the galaxy, Vrox, the alien general, stood on his homeworld, staring into the vastness of space. His once unshakable arrogance had been shattered. The invasion had been a failure, and he had lost not only his army but his pride. He had underestimated humanity, and now he knew better. He had learned a valuable lesson. Never again would he underestimate the strength of the human spirit. As he returned to his empire, Vrox was a changed being. He knew he had been wrong about Earth. The humans, who had once seemed so fragile, had proven that they were not only capable of surviving, but of thriving in the face of overwhelming odds. They had fought with courage, with honor, and with love. It was a lesson that would stay with him forever, and one that he would take back to his empire. The next time he encountered humanity, he would do so with a newfound respect. Back on Earth, as the world began its long recovery, a new generation of soldiers rose up, ready to protect their planet from any future threats. Among them was a young recruit, fresh out of training, standing at attention beside his dog. The bond between them was clear, and as the recruit looked out at the peaceful world around him, he knew that humanity's strength would never fade. The loyalty, bravery, and love between humans and their dogs would continue, a testament to the victory that had been won against impossible odds. The camera zoomed out to show a peaceful Earth, its skies now clear of alien ships. In the distance, the remains of the alien fleet drifted slowly through space, a reminder of the battle that had been fought and won. The camera lingered on the recruit and his dog, a symbol of humanity's unbreakable bond with their companions. Together, they would face whatever the future held. As the screen faded to black, the message was clear. Humanity had won, and their resilience, love, and unity would ensure that they would never again be underestimated. The final shot of the young soldier and his dog was a promise. Earth's victory was not just a moment, but the beginning of a new era, one where humanity would always stand strong, united with their loyal companions, ready to face any challenge that came their way. And so, the story of the battle for Earth ended, but the legacy of that victory would live on for generations to come.